Are you new to DonutSMP? Do you want that sweet netherite drip? You want to zoom with an elytra? Well, I got the video for you. This is a beginner's guide to DonutSMP. Alright, let's head over to the showcase area. I'll set up a bunch of stuff for you. We're going to cover all the commands, different redstone stuff, all about kelp. Alright, let's get started. The first command is /settings. You'll want to set this up right when you enter the world. When you get into settings here, there's a bunch of things you can change, but first thing I would recommend turning off or turning on is the mob spawns. This will disable mob spawns. And also, if you're streaming or recording videos, random coordinates, you should turn that on. There is a bunch of stuff in here. I have a lot of things turned off because it just gets annoying, especially when you're streaming and people just nonstop try to annoy you. But next, we're going to cover night vision /NV. If you type this in, you'll get a night vision effect, which is kind of nice when you're working down in a cave or in a farm. But I kind of like the visuals of having shadows and things like that. Next, we're going to cover the ways to sell. There's 3 ways to sell. Let's use some ender pearls as an example. /sell sells the item straight to the computer. You don't get very much. It shows you about what it's worth, $2.2. That's nothing. You only use that to clear out your inventory. Now the auction house /AH. Here you'll get a lot for an item. Look at this one's going for 2K is the cheapest one. We can sell this one with /AH sell with the item in your hand for 1K, and we'll see how long it takes us to get that. Next up is /orders. The /orders, people put in huge orders for the different things they need. You don't get as much as the auction house, but if you have a bunch of something, you're able to sell it really quickly and still get some decent money. At some point, we'll get this 1K. Ender pearls are available on /shop, so you know, I don't know why someone would buy it on AH, but you'll see somebody will. /sell, don't do anything. /AH is the way to go. Look, ender pearl sold. /orders is how you get a bunch of items sold. Next up, /shop. This is where you can get a bunch of stuff for really low price. Dr. Donut has mentioned that he might get rid of shop sometime soon, but we have things like ender chests, ender pearls, endstone, dragon's breath, in rods, chorus fruit. We got popped chorus fruit, shulker shells, shulker boxes. I'm really going to miss the shulker shells and shulker boxes here. Blaze rods. I'm really going to miss the blaze rods. We got nether wart, glowstone dust, magma cream, gas tears, nether quartz, soul sand, magma block, crying obsidian. I use that one a lot. Next up, we got the fighting stuff. Obsidian, end crystals, respawn anchors, glowstone, totem on undying, ender pearls, golden apple, bottle of enchanting, and arrows of slow falling. I don't know why, but we got potatoes, we got sweet potatoes, melon slices, carrots, apples. We got cooked chicken, steak, golden carrots, and my favorite, golden apples. Here's the shard shop. I'll discuss this a little bit later. The different spawners and amethyst things. Don't really use the other stuff, so we'll know exactly what's in them. Think netherite gear, some diamond gear. Next up is /stats. This is where you can see your stats or someone else's. You type in /stats and their name, And you can see things like how much money, shards, kills, deaths. I kill myself a lot. Playtime, blocks placed, blocks broken, mobs killed, money spent in the shop, and then money made from just /sell to the computer. Next is Baltop. This lets you see who has the most money from most to least. You can even see yourself here. Wow. It's a bunch. I think a lot of people get that much from gambling, but then that means a lot of people lose that much too. Next we have /bounty. All right. Here you get to see who has the most bounty. What, $8 billion? These are, you can put bounties on people, so you can pay money to be added to their bounty. And then if you're the person that kills them, or whoever kills them, it gets all the money currently on their bounty. Do I currently have a bounty? Let's see. Papa X Crafter. No, no bounty. All right. /RTP. This is how you randomly teleport somewhere. You can teleport to the overworld, nether, or the end. Overworld is probably the best place to get started. /TP lets you teleport to someone if they accept. /TP here lets you teleport someone to you. /MSG lets you message someone. /team lets you look at your team and the different settings involved. So you can teleport to your team home. You can turn on different things like the ability to fight your teammates. Now for an important one, /home. This is how you set and delete your homes. I think you only start with maybe 2 homes, but if you get the Donut Plus package, you're able to, I think you have 5 here. I think it's like $4 or so a month. You can delete by clicking the whatever that is at the bottom, that blue thing. All right, so that was a quick overview of all the different little settings that I use each day while playing DonutSMP. Now, let's get to the good stuff. Let's try out a random teleport. Like I said earlier, I'd recommend going to the overworld, just getting started. There's a lot more resources to get, and it's a lot easier. Now, there's a lot more people here, and you can get found easier, but just getting your first dollars, that's a lot easier. Oh, man, where are we? Okay. I think this will work. Oh, a base. Hold on. Can't get distracted. Let me see what... Oh. I see those signs all the time. Anyways. All right. So let's just get started here. You can start punching a tree like normal Minecraft. There's different things you can sell on the auction house /AH. I'll just try to call it AH from now on. Crafted things seem to get you more money. I know from experience when I'm building something that, you know, I don't really want to take the time to craft it. So crafting things like signs, things that people use a bunch, as your first items is probably the easiest way to go. Let's see how much these birch signs can go for. We'll type in AH sign and see what the cheapest one is. 3K. I mean, that's a lot of money when you're just starting out. So we'll do AH sell 2.9K. You can see there before you confirm it. I'll just /up on all of these. I'll switch to it and hit the / button, press up, and look, we're already selling. You already just turned like what, 4 or so logs into I don't know, 3, 6, 9, 12 or so $1,000. It's pretty good. There's other things you can do too to get started. I'd recommend punching a tree again so you can get a shovel and get started on this. The reason I recommend getting a shovel is because sand and gravel sell for a decent amount on orders. And if you have just a few, you can just sell them on AH for even a lot more money. So what I'm going to do is, I don't really know how many shovels I need to show you. So you could get some dirt. I mean, we could take a look to see how much dirt is, but I mean, there's some sand here. So we'll just scoop up a little bit of this. If we see any gravel, we'll grab it and we'll take a look. I know this is kind of boring, but again, when you're just starting out, this is kind of all you have. You can use TNT to make it go quicker, but that's when you have enough money to buy the TNT or make the TNT. Here's some gravel down here. I don't have any gear on, so I want to run out of breath pretty quickly. I can't really mine very quick. But let me just get a couple gravel.
I can't breathe.
Where's that other piece, man? There we go. All right, let's get to shore here. Three gravel. All right, 21 sand. Let's AH sand and see what the cheapest sand is. I usually just put in orders, but for an example, we can look at the sand or look at AH. Here's gravel. Gravel's going for a good price too. So we'll just put one at a time. That's what you get the most money at. We'll sell that for 1K. And we'll sell them both for 1K. So that was just one. We could do orders for gravel. This suspicious gravel, you got to find the first regular gravel. 450 each. Look, and we don't even have to wait. We just click it and bam. /sell would have been way less. Let's order sand. See what, not suspicious sand. We got to find regular sand, the first one, 182. I mean, once you're able to get some TNT, you're able to make back the amount of money in TNT. Sometimes the order is already almost full and you got to either click refresh. See, I got to click refresh here. Try to grab one before it gets filled. There we go. We have 3K. It's not very much, like I said. So, you know, we're just trying to grind a little bit to be able to get TNT. But anyways, it's getting dark. Let me show you a couple more different farms. I'll show you one of my first starter bases. We'll get to see some animal farms. All right, look at this dude. It's a cool dude right there.
Geronimo!
Oh man, it's dark right here. All right, let's get in here. Gotta get my pickaxe. You guys probably can't see right now, but I'll lock it up pretty tight. All right, so one of my first farms, as you can hear, is the sheepskis. These are my first ones. I built a much bigger operation, but these were my original. Wool sells for a pretty good price. I'm looking at modifying these larger gathering stations into this setup right here with the shulker boxes. The other bays here just have one shulker box. As you saw with the fly through, that there is a lot of wool on the ground, and that's because I haven't collected and sold it in a while. But if we do orders, you don't get as much orders for wool, just like normal things, but that's still 112 each there. And for just AFKing with some shears inside a dispenser, you're able to rack up some money. Make sure you have mending on those and just fix them every so often. Look, our gravel sold. Next farm I want to show you makes a little bit of racket. You can hear them chirping. These chickens. So yeah, put some chickens on top of a hopper, on top of some hoppers, and hook those hoppers to some chests if you want some extra storage, and then from the chests into some shulker boxes. Oh, a chicken died, man. That's all right. Then you can easily sell them. So you can pick this up. Let's AH eggs, and we'll check the price of the first full shulker of eggs. 350k. Yeah. So we'll slash sell for this for 349k. And I should sell at some point. Man, I need to sell this wool. That's my iron golem. Texture packs are in the description. All right, let's go take a look at my other starter farm, leather or cows. You breed the cows and kill the adults. You get leather, 10k each leather. I don't know why that one's for 2. I can just take it right now and split it and sell it for 10 each or 9k each, and there we go. But yeah, leather is useful in a bunch of different crafts. Also with making cool dyed leather garments, armor. Look at that. Already made money right there. Good thing you need to do is just pay attention to AH. If you see stuff that's cheaper and you can resell it, that's how a lot of people make money. It's just reselling. All right. Next, I got started on kelp. It was kind of before we knew that kelp was the meta. I just noticed that the price of the kelp blocks was a lot. So let me get some bone meal here, and I'll show you a little demonstration. This only has one grower, so it's not very much, and there's only maybe 12 or 16 smokers. But you don't really need to grow a bunch of kelp because the smoking is what takes forever. As long as you're growing the kelp as fast or a little bit faster than it can smoke, then you're good to go. So here's a little smoker setup. The key thing is to craft it into kelp blocks. That's how you get the real money. And we'll go over that here in just a little bit. Oh, my pumpkins.
Pumpkins are trash.
Home sweet home. All right. Let's make our way back to the little showcase area I made, and we'll get started with kelp. So kelp. Kelp is currently the meta on DonutSMP. But not just kelp, dried kelp blocks. Because shop's going away, I believe, and we need a fuel source. So they're trying to get people making dried kelp. How does it grow? Well, it grows by itself. Or you hit it with a little bone meal. For every bone meal, you get 1 extra piece of kelp. Now, you have to take that and grow it. Smoke it here. So a smoker is faster at cooking different food items like kelp than a furnace. Throw this in here. Then we'll have 18. We can make 2 kelp blocks with that, dried kelp blocks. You could do it the old-fashioned way at first and craft it yourself. Let's check right now and see how much dried kelp is. Normally on orders, it's 750 or so. But dried kelp blocks on AH 1K. Okay, let's see if this actually sells. But you're not going to want to craft by hand. And that's why you're going to want to use the crafter. The crafter is the crafting table, but you can automate it. Put these bad boys in here. Supply a redstone signal. Oh, yeah, kelp block sold. And we get another kelp block. Let's go ahead and put this one up for $9.99. And yeah, so that's the crafter. But you'll need to know about hoppers. Hopefully you already do. But anyways, hoppers let you transfer from one thing to another. Throw these in here. On DonutSMP, the hopper transfer rate is 12. I think normal is 1 item per second or something like that, but it's 12 here. So yeah, that's a hopper. Next up is a dispenser. Dispenser is like another thing called a dropper. They can spit out items, but a dispenser is a little different than a dropper in that if the item is something that can be used, well, only certain specific things, it can actually use the item. If one of those items is bone meal, I'm just showing you right now that it can spit out logs. But anyway, let me grab some bone meal. A lot of times you're going to feed it with a hopper. So see how the bone meal went straight into the dispenser. Let's break this kelp so it can grow. When I click this lever, that redstone block is going to slide over and activate that dispenser, which grows it. So there you go. You don't have to bone meal by hand. Nice. So you could sit here and just do this if you wanted, but we can automate this even further. You don't want to have to break it by hand. So the most easiest setup here is to have a piston with an observer. So a piston, if it's given a redstone signal, will extend. An observer will give a redstone signal if the block it is observing changes. So let me actually show you. Let me grab this. Let me grab a button. All right. How should I set these out to show you? Since I have glass down on the floor, I don't think placing a button right beside the piston will work. And you can't place it right on the piston in Java, or it breaks. It might be in Bedrock too. I don't know, but so I'll use this piece of concrete. You need a solid block. Let's see. When it gets a redstone signal, it extends. And when this hits the kelp stalk, I guess you could say, it breaks it. Don't want to do the bottom level because it would break the full kelp stalk and wouldn't be there anymore. But here's what an observer does. Let me grab some redstone here so you can see it a little better. We'll go through the redstone in just a bit, but when an observer detects a change on the block it's facing, it sends out a short redstone signal there. You'll notice the numbers on my redstone texture pack in the description. I can't put that back. I had to actually go outside there and face the other way to put that back, to put it facing to begin with. All right, so let me give you a little demonstration of that in action. We want to grow it and break it without us having to do either one of those. Oh, choker eggs just sold. All right, I think that's broken enough. That's where it needs to be. It has bone meal in it for the demonstration. Press this button right here. It grows once. Once it grows in front of the observer, it'll trigger and this redstone, which is connected to that solid block, and we'll break it. So grow one more. Break. Those buttons have a delay on them. Let me grab a lever. Yeah, this will work better. Huh. So you could just sit here and do this for a little bit and have your money up pretty quick. And the more money you have on here, the easier it is to make more money. So you kind of got to grind a little bit at first. Well, basically the whole time you're playing the game is grinding, but you get this kelp. You still got to smoke it. But that's as easy as just feeding it into a hopper and then into the smoker. Now you got to keep in mind how much your bone meal or bones or bone block costs, as well as your fuel source. And you got to make sure that's under the amount that you're selling the dried kelp blocks for. Redstone and clocks. Don't be afraid of redstone. It's very simple once you get the hang of it. This is a piece of redstone. This is redstone block. We used it over here. It gives you the ability to push or move a redstone power source. And well, actually, let me first go over what redstone does. Redstone sends signal up to 15 blocks away. You can see by those numbers what the power level is. But a repeater can reset that signal back to 15. So even if the signal is at 1, it'll put it back to 15. See, 15 drops down to 14, goes into the repeater, and it's at 15. I'm using a target block here because it'll reroute that redstone straight into that lamp. It's a more advanced technique. We're not going to cover that here, but now there's more. This is a comparator. Comparators do get a little bit complicated. Let's cover clocks really quick, and then we'll go into comparators. So this is a clock. A clock is something that will make a signal over and over and over. Different clocks have different speeds and different use cases. With this setup, you'll want to put a comparator and trigger it to subtraction mode, which we'll cover in just a bit, and have those two repeaters facing opposite ways. When you turn it on, you'll see it pulsing. This clock, I think this is the fastest this clock can go, but you can extend it a little more with some repeaters on either side and with the repeater delay, which I don't believe I cover in this, but the repeater has certain delays on it, and by right-clicking it, you can trigger the different delays. All right, so here's a different clock. There's two observers facing each other. To turn it off, you kind of either got to break it or move it out of the way. So what I'm doing is just moving out of the way with a piston, and then this redstone signal goes straight up into that dispenser, and you can see it's pretty quick. Yeah. I think this was just enabled by Pedro. We weren't capable of using this before. The next one was also enabled by Pedro. It's just a comparator with a loop here. Break that. It's for a future demonstration. Anyway, we put it on subtract mode by right-clicking it, and that light comes on. I can't use a repeater to send it into this dispenser because it's too fast. I'll have to use an observer here. Anyways, look how fast this one is. Super fast. Now, you wouldn't want to use this clock on pistons because it would be way too fast for pistons. But let's hear the difference. Those are about the same sounding wise. I'm pretty sure the comparator one is faster. I think they sound the same, but just looking at the redstone clicking, looks a little faster. It sounds the same though. I don't know. Maybe, I don't know. All right, so a redstone torch is like the redstone block there, except for it's just a piece of torch. Water does knock it over, so you don't want to put it near water. But if you need something always on, you can just use a torch instead of a lever or redstone block. Like I said, redstone block's basically the same thing, but you can push it with a piston, so it's very useful. We've already pretty much covered the observers. In future videos, we'll cover more. But that's really all you need to know for right now. All right. So comparators, they have a function of ability to compare the signal coming in the back. We compare that signal to what's coming in the side. It's got two modes, like I mentioned before, regular and subtraction mode. So in regular mode, it compares the back to the side, and if the back is greater than the side, then it outputs to the front. As you can see, we have 14 coming into the back. Then we have 15 coming into the side, and no signal coming out of the front because 14 is less than 15. But if we turn this off, there we go, showing the 14 coming out of the back. Now, I believe the comparator will always show the power level that's coming into the back out the front if it's passing the rule. So subtract mode is a little bit different. It'll subtract the side from the back. So let's say we have 15 from the back. See, we got 15 out the front because 15 minus 0 is 15. Turn this on, we have a power level of 14. 15 minus 14 is 1. So I know that doesn't make sense right now, but when you need that use case, it is very handy. And in the future, if you continue with redstone and Minecraft, you will need that use case. Anyways, comparators, they can do more. They can read the contents of a container, or at least how full it is. If a single item is in a container, it'll put out a signal of 1. If it's fully filled, not just every slot, but every possible stack in that slot, unstackable items count as a full stack. But you would have to fill this bad boy all the way up to get it to say 15. It's a little confusing. 1 equals 1, and however many 1,724 equals 15. But just think of it as how full it is. Let me grab a bunch of this obsidian. I'll toss this in and show you when it's full. Now, again, this probably doesn't really help you at the moment, but it's very, very useful. So you can actually put a signal on the side of it, and it'll only come out the front if it is greater or equal to that side signal. So if we fill this little bit up, it's not greater than 15. But once we fill it all the way up, it turns to 15. Take one out, it's not greater than 15, so it doesn't light up the front. Put it back in. There you go. So you can know when a container is full. This is very helpful because when a lot of farms make kelp using bone meal, it overflows and then you end up wasting money. But a comparator can also read through a block. This is very useful. Instead of the side signal being redstone, it can be a container with a comparator facing the side. So if you were to have a full chest in there and have the same setup, it would need a level of 15 to turn on. I like using a crafter. They're pretty expensive though. You only want to use those when that much money doesn't matter. But a crafter will let you set it to have a signal of 9. If you go into the crafter and you disable all the slots, as you can see, the more slots you disable in here, you'll get numbers 1 through 9. So if you need a 3 or if you need a 6 or a 9, you can easily set it up that way. I like 9 because I don't like it to trigger whenever it's like empty or all the way full. I like to have a little buffer. So a lot of times I'll put it at 9. And again, this might not make any sense why you need to use it, but I'll try to show you here. If we have for example, a farm going that's dispensing something, we want it to turn off when it gets full. Because if not, when it's all filled up, the items are just going to sit on top and despawn. So as you can see, once it reaches above 9 or 9 or equal, it turns on. Let's load this dispenser up and we'll connect it to the clock. So this dispenser is going to be spitting out items. And once that hopper is, I guess you could say, whatever level 9 is percent full, not 9% full, but I don't know, over halfway full, then it will turn off. So let's connect it to this clock here. We'll be able to have a clock triggering this dispenser. And then once it reaches the fill level, it'll automatically turn off. Let's get this set up. All right, so this will trigger the dispenser. This dispenser will start shooting out items. Once it's to the fill level of 9, it'll cut off. There we go. There's our items. Hopper's picking up at 12 items a second. Well, you'd want to encase this a little better so you don't have items flying out. But let's just give it a second to get to the level 9. It spits out only 1 item each time. So even though the clock's very fast, it can take a little bit. There we go. Turned off. So you'll have to invert the signal coming out the front of the comparator because you want it to turn off, the clock to turn off when it's full. I did that by using a solid block with a redstone torch on the front of it. You can see to the right there. All right. Items filled up, turned off, good to go. So you can use other things to show the comparator what power level you would like. If you have nothing, it'll turn off right when there's one in. Well, once it detects there's one, there might be a couple in there. See how 4 get in there because of the speed of the clock. But if you had that clock a little slower, it would turn off right when there's one in. But to trigger the comparator, you can use all kinds of stuff, even a composter. Composter's nice because I believe you can push it with a piston. So you could put it into place and not into place if you needed it. Let me grab some of this kelp to compost real quick. Depending on what fill level this composter is, it gives off a signal. Or it's going to require that other comparator to have a certain signal strength. Let me buy some more food and get this thing filled up. Oops. There we go. All right. I think this is 3 or 8 all the way full. Can't remember. I think it's 8. We'll see. I like these numbers on this texture pack. They really help out. As you saw, I bought 60 something comparators. Oh, 8. It's 8. I bought 60 something composters because it was cheaper. Never buy one if a bunch is more or less. But anyway, I hope that made sense. Let me know if it didn't. Next up, we have mastering water streams. All right. You're going to need to move a bunch of items, and hoppers, even though they're at 12 hopper speed, it's still going to be too slow. So you're going to want to watch some videos or do some research on how to move things around with water. As I throw these into the water stream here, the water flows over the ice and on top of a soul sand block, which will then raise it. Whenever there's solid water column above a soul sand block, it creates bubbles and will raise things like yourself or items. Once at the top, it then flows through the water and the ice and falls down, and then flows again on that water and the ice. The signs and the fence gates keep the water from spreading. All right, let's move on to spawners. We have the pig, the cow, the zombie, the spider, the skeleton, the creeper, the zombified piglin, the blaze, and the iron golem. This item frames are breaking. I didn't know what that was. Cow, zombie, spider, skeleton, creeper, zombified piglin, blaze, iron golem. Those are all the prices there. Pig can give you some pork chop. The cow can give you some raw beef. Zombie gives you rotten flesh. Spider, it can give you 2 things. We have the string and the spider eye. Skeleton, unfortunately, gives you 2 things. I wish it didn't give the arrows. Well, an arrow's not spawned yet. Give it a little more time. Creeper, we get the gunpowder. Zombified piglin, we get zombie flesh, rotten flesh, and some gold nuggets. Blaze, I was hoping I thought you could turn blaze powder back into blaze rods, but no. But we have the iron golem, which gives you iron ingots. It's expensive. 1,500 shards for this bad boy. But that's because iron is useful. Bones are very useful. Skeletons is what most people buy because of the farms and bone meal. So take your choice of what you want to pick and what do you want to spend your shards on. Now, for the custom DonutSMP items and tools, we got the Amethyst Axe, Amethyst Pickaxe, Amethyst Shovel, Amethyst Bucket. And there's a couple more. All of these are 4,000 shards. I don't have the Cell Axe or the Shard Booster. The Cell Axe instantly sells everything in a chest. The Shard Booster will times your shards by 4. It's very useful. So you get these by getting an amethyst key, and then you go to spawn and open the amethyst crate, and you can choose between one of these items. These 4 I have out are the more useful ones. I'll even use the other 2. All right. So this amethyst bucket, it's supposed to get rid of like 20 something buckets of water at once. Yeah, it took 2 swipes at it to get rid of those 18 water blocks. I don't know. Haven't actually used this one. I could see it being useful if you're trying to clear out a bunch of water. All of these items do break in 3 days. And if you buy one on the shop, you need to be aware of how much time it has. So these all break 9 blocks at once. Well, the axe will do a whole tree, including the leaves. And the shovel? Yeah. You can get a lot of sand with that. And all of these items, if you just use it for a couple hours, you can usually sell it for the same or even more than you bought it for. But those are the most useful items here on DonutSMP. Again, you have to use shards to get them. And I bet you're asking me, Papa Crafter, how do we get shards? Well, I guess I have to show you. If you have the DonutSMP like Plus package for $4 a month, you can get shards everywhere. But if you don't, you have to go to the AFK spot. This is the AFK Palace, I guess you could call it. Yeah. A bunch of people stay here. You just chill your guy here overnight and get a bunch of shards. I don't think you have to move. You see people jumping and stuff like that. I don't think you have to do that. But anyways, remember one of the items you could buy is the shard booster. And I actually said earlier that it wasn't useful. That's one of the most useful ones that I buy with shards. So if you buy the shard booster for 4K, you can then AFK anywhere if you have the, oh my word, what's going on? Anyways, if you have the shard booster, you can, and the DonutSMP package, you can get 4 times the amount of shards anywhere. And so then you actually gain back more in 24 hours than you did if you were to, not have shard booster. So even though it costs 4,000, I think you make 8,000 from it and you're all set. So for me, it's best for me to just buy the shard booster with my shards. And anytime I need one of, oh my goodness, it's jumping on stuff. Anytime I need to use one of the tools, I just buy it and make sure it has enough days, and then go again. Make sure it has enough days, but I like to make sure they have 2 days and some hours, and so that way when I'm done with it, it still has 2 days left, and it'll basically sell for the same amount. anyways, I think that's all I have to show you. There might be a couple more things. AH/cell. You can type in someone's name after AH and orders and see that specific person's listings. So if you want to know what someone has listed on the auction, you can look. And if you want to know what orders someone has, you can look by typing /orders and then typing in their name. See, my son's account here buys stuff for $1. That's so if I need to get rid of something or like have an overflow, I can just sell it to him and not waste. I think that's all. Put this back in here. Watch this. We need a lever or lever. I call it both. I prefer lever, but a lot of times I'll call it lever. Anyways, let's get as much kelp as we can. Put this lever down. Let's get rich. Waiting on this last one. I think I need one more. Yep. All right, let's get 8 blocks real quick. Yep. $1,000. 1,000 or $750 on orders, or 1,000 $750 on orders. There you go. Let's get these listed. Man, they're just buying the kelp. All right. Well, I think I covered everything here that I needed or wanted to cover. I probably forgot a bunch of stuff, but anyways, let me show you my house real quick. I had a house in the overworld up in the sky, but it was easily found. So this farm is worth way more than this house. You know, if the farm gets found, if it gets found, it gets found. I don't really lose nothing having the house here. It did take a while to build. It was a schematic that I edited. Here is my hot tub. Well, it's actually a cold tub because axolotls, they don't like hot. They don't like hotness. So it's hot for me, but not for my axolotl. Anyways, this probably won't make it into the video, but it was good hanging with you guys, trying to give you some advice on what I learned. I know I forgot a bunch. Thanks for sticking with me. I know it wasn't as fast and crazy as most of the DonutSMP videos, but I hope you see I'm well established here and I kind of know what I'm doing. So if you give me feedback, I can make the videos better. Yeah, you can hear me punching glass here. Catch you later. Adios, muchachos. Just imagine, you keep working hard, and you can have a farm just like this. But you got to remember, on this server, everything's found and destroyed, especially before the border expansion. This farm you're looking at right now, was found a week after it was made. But it's okay. It was fun building. I streamed the build. It was all good. I know there was a lot I didn't tell you. I had so much lined up for this video, but thank you all for sticking around. Hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, give me feedback, and I'll make the videos better. Adios. Anyways.